Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out for how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? Mom passed away 4 years ago and my sister and I received inheritance. All Mom owned was split between us equally except for her house. In her will, she wrote the house goes to whoever has kids in the future to help the grandchildren. Then mentioned that if me and my sister have kids, we'll split the house value in half. It was obvious my sister and her previously child-free husband wanted the house so bad because within weeks of the funeral, she announced she was pregnant, but couldn't keep it since she announced miscarriage days later. She didn't stop till she had a son over a year later. Then she kept getting involved in my marriage, advising me to reconsider because of my husband's condition that had us suffer from infertility. He was also in remission for his mental condition when he had an accident that impacted his jaw and left leg. Recovery has been long and draining. We got help from nobody, and the past years were awful. My sister kept referring to my mom's house as officially her son since she has a kid and I don't/won't. Till my husband and I found out we are expecting recently. We invited family over to make the announcement, and when she heard, she was shocked. She asked if I was serious, then called me unbelievable to go as far as to lie just so I get to share her kid's house. I was speechless. She said even if I was pregnant, we shouldn't be parents, and brought up my husband's BPD ignoring he recovered, brought up his disability which he got rehab for, saying this was a mistake because she never expected me to stay with my husband after everything. My husband heard that, but kept smiling at her as she listed the reasons why we should reconsider keeping this baby. I argued that we decided it's none of her business, and then my husband got involved and sarcastically said, "Oh, Aunt Helen is just mad now that she'll have to share Mama's house. Just say it. It's written all over your face." This upset her a lot. It escalated and I told her brother-in-law to leave. My dad and aunt told me not to, but I still kicked her out. My aunt said my sister was surprised and under the impression me and my husband weren't going to work due to several reasons including infertility, so she was right to react this way. Adding she didn't appreciate what my husband said, and the house is last of my sister's worries because she promised to look after me when my mom passed. They want me to apologize and resolve this. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. NTA, 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 NTA. Oh my god, what an absolute psychopath. Get a lawyer. Get a copy of that will and only communicate through that lawyer. She will make your life miserable no matter what happens from here on out. I would cut contact and let a legal team deal with any situation regarding the will in the house. Yeah, OP, do this. Like now. I'm a lawyer. Get off Reddit and start looking people up. I just got some serious ramped nightmare flashbacks reading this post. For those uninitiated, RAMP stands for Rule Against Perpetuity, the most evil and reviled topic in law. Everyone sucks here. The biggest a-hole here is your mother for writing the will the way she did. This has made both you and your sister view each other's pregnancy as opportunistic. Right? Opie's view of her sister's pregnancy isn't any kinder. Everyone sucks here. I mean, if it is true that they were child-free up until they found out they could get a free house, then it's kinda unforgivable for them to pop out an unwanted child just to financially benefit from that kid. Your mother is the a-hole. In many jurisdictions, that will could be challenged, most likely successfully. Thank you. Was just thinking the mom is the biggest a-hole for setting everyone up for fighting, and for making it so the conflict would happen after she was gone so she wouldn't have to deal with the aftermath. My grandmother was the same with inheritance, but she made it about medical issues some of us had at the time, instead of children. You can't predict what's going to happen in the future, so wills like this are foolish. I feel the most sorry for the sister's kid who was literally conceived for the purpose of the child-free parents getting a bigger cut of the inheritance. I imagine their life won't be easy. Next story. Am I the a-hole for throwing my sister's past words in her face when she asked for a favor after years of estrangement? I, 26 female, have a sister, 28 female. We haven't talked in 6 years. We were very close to not talking for like 4 years before that, and growing up we never had a good relationship. She was the person teachers loved, the smart kid in our family, the one who was naturally very gifted at academics. I was never. I struggled even with my best effort, and teachers hated me for it. When I would start out with a teacher, I was Kate's sister, and they had such high expectations for me, but soon learned I wasn't Kate, and some hated me for it. Some were just unable to understand that I was trying my best but wasn't smart. I never was smart like that. Our parents really wanted me to be more like Kate. They would praise the crap out of her and tell me to try harder, to stop making excuses for my D grades. Then I found out I was autistic when I was like 7, after a really awesome substitute teacher made a huge impact on me. Didn't really matter to my parents though. And a year later, my sister started to hate me because she felt I was ruining her reputation with the teachers. She told me our parents should drop me off at home for dumb and mentally impaired kids. Over the years, our parents really did encourage her to try and make me better, and would really encourage me to try and be more like her. Eventually, we just both hated each other to the point of no return. She told me I ruined her life, and made her life harder for her with my lack of a brain, and I should have been terminated. We were 15 and 17 when that happened. Anyway, we haven't talked in years, when suddenly she reaches out asking for a favor. That her future in-laws are close, and that she needs me to show up and make it seem like we still talk so they don't judge her. I threw her words in her face about me being terminated, and told her I was too dumb to help her out. She told me I was petty and childish, and extended family sided with her on it. Because it's been so long, why would I do that sort of thing? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. The only reason she re-established contact was to ask you to lie for her. Let her wallow in the consequences of her own choices. This in itself speaks volumes about the attitude the older sister and parents have towards Opie. It's like saying, I have no interest in having a good relationship with you, making amends for being an a-hole or any kind of effort in general. But I know this reflects badly on me, so you have an obligation to lie and make me look good in front of others. She just doesn't want her future husband and in-laws to find out how nasty and selfish she is before getting married. You're right. This is why my going rate for keeping up appearances for crap like this is $5,000 per day. Haven't had any takers, but people no longer bother me for this type of thing. It works for me. Not today, home. 1. She doesn't want to actually fix anything. She just wants to use you to lie to her in-laws. 2. You have no obligation to do anything for someone you've not spoken to for that long. 3. What your sister said was, in my opinion, unforgivable. 4. It sounds like your parents and sister failed you with their behavior. Not getting you help and expecting you to just get good grades. 5. Your parents are the a-holes for having a favorite child and not valuing you for yourself. I agree. Not the a-hole. I agree with all points too. But like, if Opie is petty, I'd go and say all of that in front of the in-laws. Then be like, I'm sorry. I'm clearly too dumb to read social cues. That's what I do. The vindictive a-hole part of me wants you to go and play it out. Oh, remember all the good times we had growing up, Opie? Nope. I remember you telling me I should have been terminated or ditched in a home. So if that's what you're talking about, then yeah, good times. Not the a-hole. Came here for this response. I would go, and then just air all the ugly details right in front of everyone. Not the a-hole, Opie, and a better person than I. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for getting angry at my sister-in-law because of what she did? My brother, Ryan, got married 4 years ago to his childhood friend, Amy. Everything was great. Until 2 weeks ago when my brother suddenly showed up to my apartment crying uncontrollably and in the middle of a mental breakdown. Apparently, Amy had been pregnant for a month and a half and got rid of it without his knowledge. He was on a business trip. The truth came out while they were in an argument because he noticed that she's been sick for a week and she's been ignoring him on purpose for seemingly no reason. Ryan was obviously devastated because they've been trying to have a baby for a year. I'll let him stay with me at the moment while he tries to think things over. I confronted Amy, and she absolutely doesn't care that my brother was deeply hurt. She told me the usual "my body, my choice" phrase, and that Ryan doesn't have the right to dictate what she wants to do with her body. I agreed with her on that, but I also told her that she should have communicated with my brother because it was also his child. She told me that she changed her mind about having kids and wanted to live child-free for the rest of her life. She was just looking for the right moment to tell Ryan about it. But she found out that she was a month pregnant and immediately decided that she didn't want it. She wasn't supposed to tell Ryan, but it slipped out during their heated argument. I was so angry at her selfish views and told her that my brother should divorce her lying butt. She was shocked, and she apparently contacted mine and her family about it when I left their house. The fight lasted for too long, And now everyone in both sides, except me, is against my brother. Because they think that he should still be supportive and loving towards her because having the procedure isn't easy. Even my parents told him to man up, but accept that he can't control Amy's body. I was also getting heat because I was enabling my brother's sexist views. Am I the a-hole? Edit. For those wondering why I was the one who confronted her, my brother had been having breakdowns for 3 days straight. I went to her because I want for them to talk and for her to help her husband. She never called nor texted in those 3 days at all. The conversation turned sour when she told me that she didn't care for my brother. Now for the top comments. Although I wholeheartedly agree with my body, my choice, I find it odd that a wife who was actively trying to have a baby for a year would get the procedure. Something doesn't feel right on this one. I think you are completely justified in your comment to your brother that he should divorce your lying butt. Info. Does your brother travel for work often? I'm wondering if there was a strong possibility that the baby wasn't your brother's? Yes. He is a private architect, so he travels a lot for his clients. I would put money on the child not being your brother's. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But if she was cheating, then reason for the termination wasn't solely because the baby wasn't his. She may have also cheated with someone of a different race. Because this would be a situation where she wouldn't be able to pass the child off as Opie's brother's because it'd be evident that the child isn't his. Just a theory. But hey, what do I know? Not day home. I agree it is her right, but it is also his right not to want to be married to her anymore. Especially if they really have been trying to have a child. That's not a decision like deciding what color to paint the kitchen. Having children / being child-free is a deal breaker for a lot of people. And if her brother travels a lot, I could see her getting her tubes tied, if she could find a willing doctor, and never saying anything to her husband. Not the a-hole. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister and her family move into my house? I'm 27 female and my partner 29 male, recently bought our first home. This was huge for us as we live in New Zealand, and house prices have been skyrocketing over the last few years. And even with the $70,000 that I inherited from my grandparents, both of us working full-time, and a loan from my partner's parents of $20,000, we only just managed to scrape through and get the place we wanted. It is a 2-bedroom, plus a small office where my partner will work from home. I'm a builder, he's a lawyer. My sister, 29 female, is unemployed and has no education past college. In addition, she has 5 kids and has recently found out she's pregnant with her 6th. Her partner is being let out of prison soon but will be on home detention, and her current landlords don't want him living in their house. He has historically been destructive of their property, so they've asked my sister to leave. She has until February next year to find a new place, as that's when their fixed term is up. My sister approached me and asked to move into our place. I said if they did find somewhere in time that they could stay with us temporarily. But there wasn't enough room to stay for more than a couple weeks, and that 7 months was more than enough time to find a place. She basically said that there was plenty of room. Partner and I could move into the office, less than 10 square meters in size. She and her partner would take our bedroom along with her youngest, who is 2 female, and her other 4 male, 5 male, 9 female, and 9 male, would share the second bedroom. I said absolutely not, that if she was desperate, I'd help her. But I wasn't going to give up the majority of our house that we'd worked our butts off for. She retaliated that I didn't even have kids, so I didn't know how hard life was. And I pointed out that when our grandparents passed away, she got the same $70,000 that I did, as well as $15,000 for each of her children that she had at the time. So why hadn't she got a job and used that $130,000 as a deposit on a house for her children? She told me to screw off, and that what she spent her money on was none of my business. Basically, it's been over 2 weeks now, and everyone in my family is hassling me to let her move into our house. My partner's completely against it due to the noise of 5 kids and a baby disturbing his work, and my sister's partner was horrible to him years ago before he went to prison. I don't want to bend, but at the same time, my entire family is treating me like I'm a huge a-hole, so I need some independent views. Edited to clarify, college in New Zealand is equivalent to high school in the States, or A/AS levels in the UK. Here, tertiary education is called university, not college. Not day home, and oh my god, do not let her in the door. She will ruin your life as she has ruined her own. How can your husband work from home if he has no office and there are little kids running everywhere? If you let her in your house, even in an emergency, It's going to be a gigantic mess that will be incredibly hard to untangle. How would you get them out if they refuse to leave? Absolutely no. State it once, twice, endlessly. Don't engage in reasoning or discussion. Just say over and over again the exact same message. The answer is no. This. If you let them in the door, they will take over your house and never leave. No is a complete sentence. Yep. If you let them in, it's over. There's no room for them. But maybe help your sister figure out contraception. And tell all those relatives that if they're so eager to see your sister housed with family, then they should take her and her children and her felon partner into their homes. See how fast that shuts everyone up. Not stay home. Don't let her move in at all. Not even for a week. Because they'll never leave. And her boyfriend will trash the place, as seems to be his history. Your family thinks she deserves help so much, they can let her move in with them. Not stay home. Write this down. Nobody in your family cares about you, your sister, or her kids. What they care about is that they don't have to take your sister, her six-pack of kids, and pearly boyfriend in themselves, and that they don't have to listen to her continued whining about how mean you are. That is the entirety of the "my entire family's treating me like I'm a huge a-hole" thing. I expect you as the first person to actually confront your sister on her crap, rather than flush the crap into somebody else's toilet, metaphorically speaking. You know full well that if you let your sister move in, she will never leave. Your marriage will fail, the house will get sold in a breakup, and your sister will only leave when the new buyers have law enforcement forcibly remove her. This is a very bad, toxic situation. When families don't take a stand together against what sounds a lot like addiction and/or severe narcissism, it's a disaster. Your family is basically abandoning you here by pressuring you to agree to a life-destroying request. This might be a good time to tell the whole lot of them to make like wallabies and bounce. I also think that a couple of $100 to get an hour of legal advice from a lawyer might be a great investment if only for your mental health. I'll add one thing. 6 kids, husband in jail, $130,000 that quickly disappeared. To me, there's only one explanation for that. Maybe you can think of another explanation for that, but I can't.